Hey everyone, in this video we are going to be continuing in week 4 and getting into our Spongebob assignment, which is our first real piece in Fusion where we have to follow along and try to be exactly the same as me in the video. So in the 4.2, if we click into it, it says you'll be creating a Spongebob using Autodesk Fusion to understand the tools and how to model to the correct sizes. All right. Below here there'll be a playlist. Right now there's not one there. I'm going to make from this video and the videos thereafter. Completing the project through, well, we'll see what video that is, will give us this assignment submission. We're going to get back to that and what video that is. At the same time, what we're going to try to do is we're going to try to make Spongebob. If we slide down and you see the Spongebob.pdf at the bottom of the screen, you can click on that to open it up. And mine's actually downloading it. And we hit there, hit save. Yes, replace it. I'm just going to open it up to show you what we're doing. We're going to be making a Spongebob, which is basically just his head. That is, 300 meters wide and 400 meters or millimeters tall, and millimeters. I misspoke, I think, the first time. And then we're going to be putting some eyeballs in, some other features like the nose and mouth. And doing all this stuff is going to help us be able to model better in Fusion 360 and make our CO2 car easily done here at the end after we learn this stuff. Now, I wouldn't be afraid to have it opened in another tab, just in case you want to refer to it, in case you can't hear me speak well enough, or you just don't want to rewind. At the same time, I've actually printed one out next to me, so this is the one time I'm going to refer to it over the course of this assignment. At the same time, hopefully this will help. So we're getting back in here. Remember, your Fusion 360, there'll be a link, sorry, not a link, but a video link to be able to watch, take you through this whole assignment. But what we're going to do is get ready to go in Fusion. Now, I already have some things that are open over here in Fusion, because every once in a while that's what happens as far as we get our assignment that we have created. Remember, this top part right here, we have tabs. If we have more than one open, you can see that I have the getting started that I made earlier. I also have a Spongebob that I did earlier too. Well, I'm going to do that again, and we'll lead you through the process. Over here, I'm just showing you kind of my navigation of my toolbar that's open underneath the panel, a data panel over there, but I can close that by selecting this 9 grid if yours is open, or the X right next to it to close that out. And to start a new one, all we have to do is hit File, New Design. When we do our File, New Design, a couple things we always want to check is just to make sure our workspace is all set up in the way it's supposed to be. And we always want to make sure we give our, file a name. So the first thing we're going to do is by naming it. How we can do that is by saving. There's a save icon up in the upper left-hand corner. If we select that, it's going to ask us, what are we going to call this thing? We're going to call this just simply Spongebob. Your location will be whatever you called your team name when you came in, I believe is what's actually showing up there. Mine's called 2023 CO2 car. Obviously, it should be more like 2024, but this is something I did a year ago when I went through my training. I'm going to hit save, and it's going to change the name for me up here in that tab. Now, the next thing we want to do is we want to make sure that we are in the right kind of unit. So if we come over here to our document settings, we're selecting this to make sure that we're in millimeters. Remember, if you're not in millimeters there, you can select this little icon. You can come over here to the right-hand side and change that. If you wanted to, after you do that, you could also select default, because that way it'll keep it in millimeters if you're using this, again, in millimeters. Remember, if you ever use inches or whatever else, you could always change that later. After you hit OK, it will change those units and we'll be in the correct spot that way. I'm going to hit cancel because I already have mine sitting in millimeters. Now, to get started, we are going to start by sketching. So we're going to go create sketch. We're going to be making this model in our front plane. So right now we're kind of in an ISO view. We're going to actually just go up to the navigational cube up here on the right-hand side, and we're going to select front. That's going to sit it so our grid's all flat now. If your grid's not showing up down here, there's some grid in snap settings. If you don't have that layout grid selected, it's not showing up right there. Sometimes that grid and snap is kind of nice to have that way. Snap to grid's kind of nice to have sometimes, but I think there's ways to work around that. Once again, I'm still kind of learning this program, but I'm getting better each day. Now, we want to select this upper right-hand corner, you can see that the red axis, the green axis, this is our X, this is our Y. We want to select right here. And then we want to start creating our model. SpongeBob's head is a 300 wide by 400 tall millimeters square rectangle. So I'm going to start by selecting the 2-point rectangle. I'm then going to go down to where the little 0, 0, 0 is right here, the origin, and I'm going to select that. I'm going to slide to the right-hand side. And unlike our last videos, I'm going to type information here right now to give it the right size. So if you see down below, it's already highlighting that bottom piece of data, the X coordinate. So we're going to type in 300 millimeters. You just type in 300. And then the next thing is, it looks like it's going crazy right there, but we're going to hit Tab, and we're going to type in 400. Now, I'm going to scroll out with my scroll wheel, which for me is scrolling up. Actually, it's scrolling out. And you can kind of see what that shape is that I'm looking at there. All right? And I'm going to hit Enter, and it will make that situation. I had to kind of scroll out because I was so far zoomed in that this piece that I was making was actually quite big. Think about this. 300 millimeters would be about 12 inches. At the same time, 400 would be over 12 inches. Now, or typical ruler. With that being said, whenever we create things, as far as just like a rectangle right now, we always want to, well, make sure we have the right dimensions. And you can select those dimensions and kind of pull them or drag them down, move them around if you're not showing up where they want to be. If you want to move them out a little bit, you can do that. And after we do that, we want to make sure we finish the sketch. So we're just going to hit the check mark there to complete that process. Now we have done rectangle that's the right size. Sometimes it's good to have a reference about, well, is it for sure the right size? I can't see any numbers here besides the numbers that are showing up on the right-hand side here. If you go over to your sketches and you right-click, sorry, expand that. Underneath sketch 1, right-click there. You can slide down to where it says show dimensions. And if you type dimensions in, when you hit show dimensions, it will show those dimensions so they're easily knowing, or you're easily knowing that that's the correct size of our start of our document. With that being said, we always want to save when we're getting done. If it asks you what version, we're just going to hit OK there. It should be keeping it SpongeBob. It might update to version 2. Hit OK. With that being said, now we've saved it. It says version 2 up there on top. And then the other part is we are ready to, I guess, start the next video. I hope this kind of helps you get started by making this original rectangle. And I'll be in the next video to turn this guy 3D and get some more things going. Thanks for watching.